What is up, everybody, and welcome back to MTG Devotion. My name is Mike Knowles. Thank you for joining me today. Another deck profile, deck tech, whatever you guys want to call this. So this is a super sweet deck I ended up working on a lot for a PPTQ I went to. And I can say, honestly, this is one of the best decks going into Hour of Devastation format. It was definitely like top 3 decks in this little standard period we had between. And the reason why it's going to be a little bit less is because of the fact the new perspectives go so much better with the counter spell. The cycles, god damn it, why? But today we are talking about a sweet deck known as Abzan tokens. Now there's been versions of this deck that all are built around this one super sweet card, Anointed Processions. Now traditionally they've been relying on cards like Gideon, like Nissa to Anthem and create larger tokens with 2/2 knights, Anthem emblems -2 counter, or to put counters on things. But this version is a little bit slightly off and does a way better job at being a traditional token deck of producing tokens without casting creature spells, which thus gives you the better control matchup, and being able to make creatures at a more instant-like speed, and also being able to play a kind of control matchup where it grinds out inherently a lot more value than traditional ones we've seen playing Secret Cat, playing Regal Call, and all those others. This is what I like to call the Abzan Tokens 2.0 enchantment build. So here's the deck profile, check it out, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so let's get right into this. So first off, starting with the creatures, you got 4 copies of Thraben Inspector. Now this is like the one card doesn't actually support the token theme in the traditional sense, but it does make clue tokens, which with the best card of the deck being Anointed Procession, you get double clue tokens, but these clues actually come into play in another sense you're gonna get to see later. So Thraben's actually one of the really good powerhouse cards. Also, just being able to basically draw a card with it, which is great. You have 4 Blister Pods. A Blister Pod being this card that's like very niche, but with the green it's just pretty good. The fact that you can just like chump it and then accelerate your mana to an earlier Anointed Procession or to double spells in a turn ends up making it really, really solid at the 1 curve. Also, again, like because we were playing 3 colors, the 1 slot is a little bit janky. We're not always going to get to play the 1 drop on 1, but still good enough for the filler. Peeping machines in the background. And then we have 4 Anointed Priests. This card everyone's really seen since the token variants of Anointed Procession have been on the field. Obviously, this card gains you life for all your tokens. With Anointed Procession, when you embalm it, you get double. They see each other, so they gain 4 while just embalming it. Just a really sweet card that does a lot of things for the deck. It helps you race or survive until you can start racing. We also have 4 Catacomb Sifters. Again, accelerating your mana base. Again, this is a lot of tap lands post 3 because speed lands, fast lands end up coming in tapped on 4. This means if you play this on 3, as long as you have a white source, you can play your Anointed Procession or any other like 4 drop essentially. And then the Scry is super duper nice because it really helps you field out. Like once you already have certain combo pieces, there's certain combo pieces you want one of, and certain that you're okay having multiples of, and then you're always like searching for that one card that you don't have to complete like the cycle of things you're doing. And so the additional Scries off of the Catacomb Sifter are amazingly relevant in the matchup. To fill out the creature lineup, we have 3 Angel Sanctions. Now, Angel Sanctions here is actually the weird one. So this is a card you almost always cut some number of copies of during sideboarding. And a lot of times you're cutting all 3 in sideboarding, and normally that'd be a sign like, oh, this should just not be in the main board, you should just sideboard this card. But in actuality, it's in the main board because it's just so versatile in the game 1. It's so many matchups that this card actually does great things against, or at least good enough things against, as opposed to like teching in a sideboard card that may be dead in some matchups. And again, like if you just embalm this card with Anointed Procession on the board, you literally just like get 6 power on the board with flying, for 8th toughness, and get to exile 2 things, which is crazy. So it's just good enough for the main board, but with a 5 mana cost and a lot of things to be able to kill it, like exerting Glorybringers and Abysins, it's just like it's just good enough to get in there for game 1. Now we're gonna move on to the non-creature cards in the deck. So we have 3 Cryptolithrites. The one combo piece you really don't play 4 of because again, having multiples of this one doesn't really do anything at all. There's a lot of matchups you actually end up signing out a copy of just because you know you're not going to be able to go as wide as early, or it's not as relevant because the game's going to go long regardless. But yeah, so really good card there. So now we're going to actually go to more of the token engine. So I have 4 Stockpiles, the card that really started putting this kind of deck on the map. Revolt at the end step, if you lost a permanent in the end step of your turn, make a 1/1 servo. If you have Anointed Procession, it becomes 2 servos. If you have 2 Anointed Procession, it becomes 4 servos, etc., etc. Pay a colorless, sacrifice a creature, scry 1. That'll trigger that there Revolt, and you'll get the scry and search for more stuff. If you have Catacomb Sifter on the board, you get the scry twice. So, always good times there. If you have Crypt of Rights on the board, you get to tap the servo you made last turn for mana, use that mana to sacrifice the same servo, get 2 scries. All great stuff. Scions make double mana, essentially. It's great. So here's the cards I talked about earlier with Raven Inspector. That's one of the new additions to the build, and that's Uberworld Mysteries. So this card reads, whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you get a clue. So you're gonna get a clue token. If you have Anointed Procession, you're gonna get 2 clue tokens. So that's pretty sweet to start with. But the second point where it goes with Raven Inspector is that whenever you sacrifice a clue, you get a 1/1 human soldier creature token on the battlefield. So in Anointed Procession, you get 2 of them, which is great, which means 2 triggers of Anointed Priest for 2 life. And then also, because you're doubling your clues, you're doubling the number. So like 1 clue equals 1 guy. If you already have the clue in the play Anointed Procession, 1 clue equals 2 guys. If you have Anointed Procession, then get the clue. Getting 1 clue gets you 2 clues, which is 2 cards and 4 guys. So it just really adds up in that sense. There's a few matches where you do sideboard out like a copy of it. It heads down to 3, but the 4 slot's really nice. It's a really good way to just produce more creatures, and also sacrificing a clue triggers a revolt off of stockpile. So it's really nice to be able to trigger a revolt without sacrificing a creature. Then of course, Anointed Procession, the card of the deck. Double the number. If you get like a number of creature or a number of token cards on your battlefield, double that number. It's not +1 like Snake, and it's always double, so they stack. So like I said before, 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, etc., etc. I had a game where my opponent fumigated me, gained 88, and we went the turns, and I still won. But like, because I had to, he flipped an Abzan trigger, so I floated all my dudes for mana off Crypt of Rights. I sacked 11 clues to make. I sacked 11 clues to make 44 dudes, and then servos, and I cast some more stuff that turn. Because I had 2 Anointed Processions up. It was pretty good. And then the only other non-creature, non-enchantment card we have is a copy of Dust Till Dawn. Now originally this was an Oketra, and we ended up moving it to the sideboard because of the fact that Oketra is more niche in matchups, whereas like having a board up is never bad. Like you get to at least like get like even in the Mardu matchup where this is like sometimes the least relevant because like, a lot of things avoid it, like Heart of Kieran not being a creature when you cast it, Gideon, etc. You get to trade this like in the Teamer matchup for at least a Glorybringer and like a Tireless Tracker. If you're just like 2 for 1ing off this, it's good enough. If you just have the 1 of, and then the Dawn obviously gets back literally every creature in the deck into your hand. So super relevant in that case. That's why I cut the Oketra. Moving the lands. We have 2 Westvale Abbey. There was a while where I was thinking about cutting out another land for 3rd Westvale Abbeys because like this card is insane. Anyone that's played against or with this card in a deck like this knows this card is insane. But in the end, the mana is just really important to make sure you're hitting your colors on time. So you're just playing 2, and you get to see so many cards in this deck with all the scries and draws that it's rarely that relevant. Although my luck has been very bad with it. So we have 4 copies of Concealed Courtyard. And 4 copies of Blooming Marsh for our fast lands. We have 4 copies of Volume Wilds, which is great not only for the mana fixing, but also for the fact that like it triggers the revolt. So like if I don't have I play like Stockpile at turn 3 for some reason, and then I can play this is my turn 3 land and sack it, and then I get the servo. So that's really nice to have that around as an option to trigger a revolt. They got 3 copies of Fortified Village. 2 copies of Scattered Groves, and then for basics you have 3 plains, 2 forests, and 1 swamp. The 1 swap being the fact that you don't need double black for anything in the main board. You need like double white for Dust Till Dawn and Angel, and green's pretty relevant. And also this is the 1 card that doesn't let you have Fortified Village come in on tap. So that's kind of where that little ratio there comes from essentially. And then moving to the sideboard, we got 2 copies of Declarations, so really good in the zombie matchup, really good if you face the mirror. It's just like a nice clean answer. If you're facing like bigger things, like some variants of Teamer, I would bring this in over copies of Fatal Pushes, depending on like what they're doing exactly, what I'm going to plan on doing. Just a really nice hit on things. 3 fatal pushes. This was originally 4 fatal pushes, and I made a concession in the sideboard for a later card. But really, you only need the 3 to be honest. Like the card the only time you want like 4 is against like the zombie matchup, and really just bringing in like having the Dustin Dawn on the main board and having this also is just enough. So you don't really need the 4. We have 1 copy of Cast Out, 1 copy of Dustin Dawn to make a second one with the main board, and then we have a catcher. A catcher is really nice in the grindy. Certain grindy mid-range matchups. I wouldn't say the teamer one is one you want it in necessarily, depending on what they're doing. But like, so control matchup is really good, and then in like, if you're playing like someone who's playing emerge decks, I'll bring this against an emerge deck too, because you're playing like Kozilek's Return and stuff like that. So it pairs up really nicely in that sense. 3 copies Stylish Tracker, one of the best cards to hit standard. Just good. Clues are good. Drawing cards are good. This card we made a concession of the 4 fatal push for a second copy of Lost Legacy. So the reason we did this is because the two matchups you really can't ever win with this deck is New Perspectives and Pummeler, which is what I lost to in Top Gun because of the trample Pummeler. So with New Perspectives, by playing we were playing 1 and now we're playing 2 because it actually game 1 is just almost always unwinnable unless they just keep a hand they shouldn't keep, draw poorly, or mulligan too much. But if you bring this in, you actually have a chance to win the matchup, because the problem is you don't put enough like early game pressure on to pressure the New Perspectives deck, and you're never going to grow outside of their sweepers like Radiant Flames. So this lets you call New Perspectives and then call like Drake Haven or Second Sun or whatever you want to call. We were originally playing 1 because of the fact that like you can just find it so easily with all the scries. Because like you just don't pressure them, you just except you can't pressure them, so you go all in on sacrificing your creatures to scry more cards. But the second copy ends up being better, and also it pairs up well for the matchup. So the other thing I was thinking about cutting the fatal push for a Trespasser's Curse for the matchup, which is like the one way to like destroy the matchup is to have a Trespasser Curse casted on you if you're playing this deck. But we realized that it's less likely someone's gonna come with a token deck, and more likely someone's gonna come with some sort of like New Perspectives deck. So we decided to do that, and you can also bring this in the mirror still and call like Anointed Procession, call Stockpile, call whatever they haven't resolved yet, or what they haven't resolved a certain amount of copies of, so that at some point you'll outgrow them. And then 2 copies of Anguish I'm making. It's a very clean answer to a lot of the Mardu cards. Mardu being like the one deck aside from the 2 decks I already named, New Perspectives and Palma. It gives you a really hard time because they get on the board early with high-end creatures that have really good evasion and are hard to remove. So like green-black variants can do the same, but aside from Gearhulk, you're really able to like chump everything, and so like it becomes irrelevant, and you just get into stalemate wards, and so you win. Whereas like Mardu is really hard to deal with the Planeswalkers, the Glorybringer, the Heart of Kieran, the Scrounger you can trade with and they come back. So this is a really clean answer to a lot of things in the deck. Usually bring out like these and like some amount of like these and Cast Out when they move over to like mid-range control build of the Mardu deck. And against control decks, lets you hit the Planeswalkers and all that other good stuff. You bring it in against New Perspectives with Cast Out to hit the New Perspectives as they already resolve it, or the Drake Haven to already resolve it. It's just a nice, really clean answer, and with all the life you gain, also the 3 life cost on this is like basically just doesn't matter. It's just completely irrelevant. It basically just says exile target creature or non-land permanent. My mistake for 3 mana at instant speed. So really good. Alright guys, so thank you for checking out this video. I hope you guys got a great idea of something you're thinking about playing for the next Hour of Devastation format. Maybe slot some new cards in, maybe 675 and run with it. And, you know, let me know what you guys think about this, any improvements you guys end up coming up with, maybe sideboard text, mainboard text, whatever you guys think. And, you know, I would love to see you guys playing it. If you guys want to hit me up on Twitter, at the Mighty Mike, tweet me some pictures of you guys playing it at your local FNM. Let me know how you guys are doing with it, and we'll see you guys later.